Oh my god, we're only in episode 5. Oh
Yes.
god.
We arrived at the Jet backstory episode. They strangely went with this 1940s film noir look, like both Jet and Fed have trench coats and fedoras, smoke everywhere, an old car, and there's this vintage filter stumped over it. I really don't know why, but let's carry on, shall we? This short flashback is rather simple. Jet and Fed are after Uday Texan, while also trying to find who is the dirty cop.
Uday Texan, there's surveillance of him talking to our Mark.
I know that, Shadow. Chalmers.
Chalmers.
He's too perfect. This is Chalmers talking to Uday.
This results in the same chase we see in the anime, which ends in Jet getting shot at. And you know, for this 4-minute segment, I felt like I was enjoying myself. It is probably because Faye was nowhere to be found, Vicious wasn't embarrassing himself, or just the fact we had a hard focus on a plot that might go somewhere. Until we reach that part where Jet gets cornered because for some reason, I remember this being much less dramatic. Yep, it's another downgrade. We could have seen that one coming. Regardless, I have to admit, at least this is something you can work with. And this might have something to do with Jet being the least offensive addition in the adaptation. Even after all the horrible things they have done to the character, I'm willing to say that Mustafa Shakir was a good casting. He's the right age, he has the physique, even though the writers forget about it, and his tough but caring personality still shines through. I haven't gone too deep into the race changes and the gender swaps this show has been conducting because it's way lesser of an issue than the godforsaken Brian. I do think it is needless to change the race of a character when you can easily hire an actor to fill the role, especially in the States. Of course, this is something much more difficult to achieve in a place like Japan, where the population is a lot more homogeneous than in the States. But my rule of thumb is, unless the context of the story makes it apparent that the race ethnicity is specified, I don't mind what they do with the casting. However, what I do take an issue with is, ironically, when they make a caricature out of a pre-existing character to the point I would call it racist.
Because Jet, you are black and you are male.
Jet being a divorced deadbeat black dad is enough of a flex from Netflix, but the scene with Woodcock really took away his dignity.
Creamy chocolate milk.
Another time is when he is shown to be a complete buffoon, either at recognizing Spike's strange behavior or his lack of common sense. Despite him being quite knowledgeable is a major part of his character.
What else do you need to know? I'm afraid there's no smoking allowed in here.
Huh? Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. Actually, I don't have any questions. It's just, there's something I want you to see.
What's that?
This is a game, all planned out in advance. You gate guys know exactly what I'm talking about.
Bounty hunters should look for bounties. I suggest you do that. Our guest is leaving now. Make sure he's escorted out of the building.
Shit. Come on.
We should have never taken such a risk. If this thing ever gets out, you know what will happen.
But they gotta dump him down for the sake of easy jokes because they are unable to write a good story involving bounty hunters in space. The anime represented a diverse cast without making a fuss about it, kinda like in a show called Red Dwarf.
Why not? Look, I think we've all got something to bring to this discussion, but I think from now on the thing you should bring is silence.
You know, making a show to be entertaining instead of preaching. Bebop has quite a diverse universe. Why change anything about it is beyond me. Speaking of which, here's a funny article from the Washington Post. Netflix says Cowboy Bebop reignites a debate. Is Jet Black a black anime character? Oh my lord, why did you do this to me? Bo Billingsley, a black voice actor who provided the original English language voice of Jet, would rather have this character be seen as color neutral. When I first started in anime, there were hardly any anime characters that were persons of color, Billingsley says. If producers stuck to a rule that only persons of color would voice characters of color, I never would have worked. Billingsley grew to appreciate how anime spared him from being typecast, or even having to be conscious of that possibility. He and Cowboy Bebop's producers agreed that Jet's voice would simply be my voice and I tweak it a little bit. So it's kind of incredible that, yeah, the context of the story doesn't specify like what race Jet belongs to. It really just comes down to like, how can you act? It's such a nice way for the Washington Post to reinforce the idea that acting can be done by anyone and it all depends on skill. But there's more of an approach from the voice acting, just typical Washington Post article. What did I expect? But I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's continue with the episode. On the Bebop, Jet is boring Faye to death with his objective analysis of a song, which is quite fitting for his character. Pretty good bridge between the flashback and the present. Good stuff. Until Spike comes in complaining about the lack of hot water in the shower.
There's not a drop of hot water in those pipes.
Sorry guys, that's on me. I like my shower scalding hot.
And we're back to quirky humor.
What?
It's how you clean yourself.
Baths are great, but gross. I mean, who wants to be in a tub full of hot water stewing in their own filth?
I have a hunch there's something about the riot describing their daily routine through a script rather than something Faye would do.
You start by taking a shower to wash all the grime off. Then you get in the tub, at which point you shave, soap, exfoliate.
How long is she gonna be here?
Why write a scene to build character? When you can have this shit.
Now, after the deliciousness of the bath, you get back in the shower, rinse off, ergo, shower, bath, shower.
And since this scene in particular got a lot of focus for some odd reason, I'm gonna keep my eyes on it. Suddenly they hear the Big Shot jingle, but something really stupid happens in the editing department. I will give you some time to catch it.
Alright, there we go.
You have probably noticed that the jingle is repeated 3 times just so we have enough time to see each character move towards the TV. This is a minuscule issue in comparison, but it perfectly represents the amateur nature of the production. How about, if I may suggest, moving the camera away so all 3 characters can move once, then cut to the next scene?
You know what that means? It's time for the leaderboard!
Leaderboard? What?
The transport ship has just crashed on Europa, so
prisoners are fleeing in every direction.
Oh, the prisoners have already escaped? That would mean that they got rid of the whole subplot of Uday Taksim being a total badass while taking over an ISSP prison ship with fellow inmates, building up this awesome showdown between the former cop and the escaped fugitive. Bloody hell, this show sucks so hard. It does appear Uday is on the list, and in case you weren't listening, his name will be repeated a couple more times.
Uday Taksim. Uday Taksim. Uday Taksim.
Dental plan.
Lisa needs braces.
Dental plan.
Aren't these riots wonderful? And again, if this was the original scene, we would switch around between the TV and Jet instead of a single zoom-in shot. Or better, how about showing some small glimpses of flashback? This would be the best opportunity to have those. Oh well, this was enough for Jet to get out, quite literally, and tell the other 2 to go hunting on their own. But you know, he didn't tell him he will go after Uday.
You two, team up. Be a perfect storm to catch a bullet in your ass. So pairing be the best way to cover your asses.
So who's covering yours?
Don't worry about me.
What if Spike and Faye also ends up chasing after him? Oh well.
What's up with your boy?
I don't know, but he's got his cop face on.
Meaning?
Meaning when he gets like this, it's just best to do what he says.
From the evidence we can take away that Jet got sentenced to jail because Uday testified against him. So Jet was the dirty cop? What evidence? Why would he get shot multiple times to the point he needs prosthetics, then gets blamed for being a dirty cop? What the hell? Why do they need to overcomplicate the story? If it works, don't fix it. And now it's Jet reaching out to Fad instead of the other way around. Why? It played a big part in the original that Jet was reluctant to return to his past life for a variety of reasons. One of the major ones being the corruption inside the ISSP, so it would make sense that Fad had to persuade him.
The prisoners saw their opportunity and took it. I don't know all the details.
And?
Uday's on the ship. They got through the Ganymede Gate. After that, we don't know where they went.
Hold on. You're not getting any stupid ideas, are you? This is not your beat.
Are you sure it's a stupid idea, Jet? That's the reason you quit the police force, isn't it? Because of that?
But never mind that, cause Jet has equipped the drip for the occasion. He is still certain Chalmers set him up that night, so they are after the only lead they have.
Here's what I know. Chalmers pulled the trigger that night. He set me up. He was the first on the scene and the one who made the case that put me away.
And he's dating your ex?
This isn't about that.
It's not the end of the world, but all this guilt he carries is in the way of his character realizing that the ISSP were corrupt to the point he would rather quit the force, and it goes against the original's conclusion, which we will get into later.
It took me years to earn my reputation as a good cop, and that smiling jackhole took it away. I want it back.
Okay, first step towards that is not associating with this person. Second of all, get rid of this person. Speaking of which, back on the Bebop, they still haven't decided which bounty they will pursue.
What about Squirrel 5?
Afraid the Earl beat you to it.
Jesus Christ, they're snaking all the good ones.
Oh, that's
some bullshit.
Not only is Danielle Piñada perfectly cast as Faye Valentine, her character consistently has the best dialogue of anyone on the show.
What are you doing?
I'll tell you what I'm not gonna do, is stick around here with my thumb up my ass.
You serious?
Spike still insists on cooperating though.
I'm going out.
Hold on. Jet's right. It's gonna be a shooting gallery out there. Let's hunker down and we'll pick one.
Fine.
Got an idea. We shoot for it.
Back at the Vicious HQ, Vicious is anxious, but Julia tells Vicious that the meeting with Mao is important.
We only get one shot at Mao. It has to go away.
I'll kill that bitch with kindness.
And that's the scene. Back to the Bebop. The duo tries to settle their debate with a game of rock, paper, scissors. Except Faye tries to be so funny, she transcends into a new dimension where no human being can understand her.
3, 2, 1.
What the hell is that?
That is a crossbow because I'm a hunter. Hunter bear ninja.
Say what?
And just when you thought this can't get any worse, one of the bounties was removed for being too dangerous.
Oh no, T-Bone Wilson has just killed 6, count them 6, bounty hunters.
Okay.
ISSP sniper unit has been dispatched and asks all cowboys pursuing T-Bone to stand down.
So now they have ISSP snipers to pursue him. What the fuck? So during the Hakim episode, this wasn't an issue even though the cops were hunting for him. But now it's too much? Do they even grasp the concept of why they have bounties in the first place? Because they are almost impossible to find, so they need a third party to bring them in. Or they don't have enough men to handle the job. None of this makes any sense at all. What? Criminals are dangerous? No way! The higher the reward, the higher the risk. It's not rocket science. Oh, Jesus. Oh, and they do have an Easter egg by including Cowboy Andy on the leaderboard. But don't worry, that's all we're gonna see of him. They had mercy for one character at least. You shall not be raped.
No prize for this one, cowboys.
Crap. Shit. Crap!
Is that like shower, bath, shower?
In the meantime, Jet and Fad are interrogating Dagmar about his connection to Uday.
There's nothing in our inventory.
Got Udai's new papers right here.
He's not difficult to persuade.
This is for lying to us.
When's he picking them up?
I don't know, he didn't say. All right, in a few hours, okay, I swear.
But the unthinkable happens.
What?
Chalmers and Duero show up, the two that both of them suspect to be dirty cops. So Fad has a great idea.
Chalmers and Duero showing up here means they're both dirty. They get to Udai first, they'll put a bullet in them.
It's not gonna happen.
He throws an object at the smoke machine to release the internet gas that knocks everyone out in its radius.
Experimental internet gas?
What a beautiful long static shot. I can't handle all this excitement.
They're gonna be tripping balls for the next 12 hours.
Nothing like X9 infused opium to bring partners together.
I must say it feels ironic that I'm more invested in the scenes that has Fad in them, since he's more like a flanderization of the original character, which is kind of ironic because he's the live action version. But really, when it comes down to like the main cast, they don't have the kind of chemistry that Fad has with Jet. And it's kind of sad. Speaking of which, they are still at a standstill, because Faye thinks Spike doesn't trust her.
You don't want to work with me, do you?
Where'd that come from?
You don't think I can do this.
Can't imagine why. So obviously the best course of action is bragging about how cool they are by comparing who has cooler scars.
This, a souvenir from Joey T. Bites me in the station.
This is from Stella the fella's blowtorch. Biggest bounty we ever caught.
This is not Bebop. All these scenes are forced because there isn't a minuscule amount of chemistry between the two. The trio are all capable of capturing bounties, but here's the thing, they are losers. They barely managed to catch any of those bounties, and even when they did, we never saw them being cocky about it. That is because in the anime we see the characters through their actions. There's a lot of show don't tell in the series, which Watanabe excels at quite well. Just so I don't have to use Bebop for all my examples, let's see this technique in the show Samurai Champloo, which some would argue is on par with Bebop. One of the episodes features a plot where the heroes agree to escort a blind mother who is a traveling musician. Through their journey they happen to see children play with pinwheels. A completely random observation, but it will come into play when the helpless blind woman turns out to be an assassin, blackmailed into pursuing our main characters. She needs to do this because her son's life is at stake.
If I don't do this, my son dies.
Well, show me what you got then.
Close to the end though, she gets contacted by one of their messengers, and during the scene we see a bunch of pinwheels.
Did you become attached to them? Perhaps I need to remind you, it's not just your life you're gambling with. Did you forget that your son's fate rests in your hands as well?
No.
Something wrong?
No.
I want the job finished by tomorrow.
Except one of them stops spinning completely and gets carried away in the wind. The mother, despite being blind, notices that, and while we still get some exposition for the current events, we still have a mystery to ourselves on what exactly did that pinwheel stand for. It isn't until the end of her fight with Mugen that she admits her realization that her son has been long dead and the government was only using her.
Why'd you pull back? You know that you had me cold!
I realized something. My son's been dead for a long time now. This whole time, they've just been using me.
Then fight them!
I cannot. The government hired me. I just want you to live, Luke.
We could only guess what the symbolism for the pinwheel was. It spins like the flow of time, but despite the flow of one of them stops permanently, this can be a clear reference to life ending and everything else carrying on. But the fact remains that they showed us the connection without pointing it out straight away verbally is a work of art by itself. I've said this quite a few times already, but live action spends double the original's runtime, yet doesn't use this time to set up these metaphors, and with them, the mysteries. Like showing the flashback in the very first episode of Spike's Past with Julia and the Syndicate when they involve both in the same episode. Worse is they put a rose tattoo on Julia's, just so you recognize her from the back, because the roses Spike was holding weren't enough. This lack of charm ultimately makes for a very dry experience that no wonder so many people ran away from. But there's no time to waste, we must all carry this weight until it's done. Jet and Fad discuss their next move to catch Uday in an enjoyable fashion.
He's got no papers.
No family to reach out to?
He's been in a 3x6 for the last 9 years. He's not hiding in a hole.
Hey, baby. I'm here with Jet now. Hey, when we get this buttoned up, Cons will make you tiramisu.
Thanks, Con.
It's all right. Love you too, baby.
Uday wouldn't hide in a hole. He'd hide in a box.
Like that Captain Saturday, the dealer who hid in his own shipping container.
Exactly.
The things you can achieve when you have two adult characters who are not trying to crack jokes and stay heavily plot focused.
The only way Uday gets off of Europa without papers if he stows away in an interplanetary container freighter.
And where would he slip into one of those unseen?
Sorting station.
The detective work Jet is doing is something I have been waiting for until now. It's a trait he should be naturally good at, but before it was overshadowed by the inappropriate jokes this series bombards you with.
I could put my fist up your ass.
But speaking of which, there are no brakes on the testicle train, so we're gonna switch perspectives to a furnace.
First words out of that pretty mouth better be an apology.
Wait, is this supposed to be Mao?
It was unfortunate.
So who was this extraordinary Mark who had the skills to end Gunther?
Forget about playing any stupid gender swap. Why in hell did Mao doing blue collar work? Do they understand what a capo is? This is one of the elite of the most notorious crime syndicate, and she's just hanging around next to a furnace?
You asked me for Gunther, my best hitman. I sent him to you, no questions asked, but I get him back in a box.
So the assassin was one of Mao's guys, and the top dog? That guy with the funny shoes?
Fuck you.
But wait! Didn't Vicious ask his goons to do his bidding?
Find this bounty hunter. If it really is fearless, bring me his head.
Anyway, Vicious put a lot of points into his speech, so he managed to convince Mao of giving him another chance.
You're just pouting because they shut down your red-eye distro.
And you think they won't find out what you're into?
Of course. She also has an operation under the Elder's nose. The most logical solution if you have a really dumb character, you gotta drag down everyone else around him, so he doesn't look as idiotic.
Don't underestimate the eunuch. He's vile in ways you could never imagine. In his words...
Just before we carry on to the reveal of this guy, what could Mao referring to about Santiago? A. His courage. B. His loyalty. C. His habit of tasting the testicles of the men who have wronged him.
You'll never know true power until you've tasted the testicles of a man who's wronged you.
Why'd you write a sentence like that?
Oh no!
Oh my god, the show's so gay. What? You can't. No, but the thing is, someone wrote that and went, "Yeah, this is a badass thing." How the fuck did anyone say that with a straight face?
Vicious makes an offer and Mao accepts it if he's willing to let Julia sing for her.
To know from me, unless your wife sings for me.
The previous scene you were talking about guy was eating the testicles of someone else, and now you want this bitch to sing for you. What is this show?
Consider it my cherry on top. It's a small ask.
It's not a small ask. She's my wife.
This is apparently too much for Vicious to handle, and the further tease of Mao of how cool Spike was compared to him pushes him further.
See, this is why I miss your partner. At least when he was around, you were a bit muzzled. Now, fearless. He had it all. Ruthless, level-headed, better killer than you'll ever be.
Fuck! Fearless.
So he calls off the deal, but Julia agrees to sing.
Let's go. Julia.
Swathe me in honey.
Okay, I understand Vicious is a complete psycho, even more than in the anime, but really, this is his best shot at eliminating the elders. He's throwing it away because it's too much for his pride to have Julia sing.
And
He keeps proving to be the dumbest person in existence. You just told her your whole plan that you're gonna backstab the elders. Like, there's no going back from here. And to compete with the dumbness, we have Spike and Faye still trying to bond over past achievements of theirs.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow. How did you...
Well...
Oh look, Faye managed to catch a really big bounty. How interesting. She's even doing a reenactment of this for the full effect.
The guy loved to tango.
This is another scene that convinces me the Ryans never met real people unless they were at a bar. This conversation feels more suitable between drunk friends who talk about the glory days.
All I had to do was disarm him.
Professionals don't need to recite their old stories to prove how competent they are, because you can see that through their actions, and they fall flat in an instant when you think about what happened in the previous episodes. Katerina escaped and bested by Spike. Asimov killed. Eco-terrorists escaped from her twice.
Shit, fuck, shit!
If I really want to be mean, and I do, I would also include the scene when Spike yet again manages to point a gun at her head after she double-crossed them. But whatever, because the story decided that this was enough for Spike to be convinced that she's a capable person. Worst is, the show completely forgets why they are doing jobs in the first place.
Respect. Unadulterated respect.
Stick with me, kid. You might learn a thing or two.
Such arrogance.
Spike and Faye wasting several cans of craft beer and snacks, and hot water gives the impression of this being given. No, you have to earn it. I know they are just snacks, but it's a comedic part of the original that they are always have to live on scraps and they are forced to get bounties to even get by. That's how it is. Also, let me remind you that we are 34 minutes in and they still haven't gone after a single bounty.
Forget what I said before. Now you got my full respect. This shower bath shower thing, life-changing.
The original had the shower being broken as a small hint at the ship needing repairs, just as Jet's arm, which is then connected to his old life, thus we jumpstart the episode.
Who is it? Okay, Fad, I'll tell him.
Did you say Fad?
Don't you feel that?
Huh?
It needs to be repaired.
Faye, I told you I'd fix it.
I mean your arm. Reconstructive surgery? It doesn't cost that much these days, you know?
This ship is my ship, and this arm is my arm. I don't need instructions.
We got that out of the way in a few minutes. This is a thing I was talking about with the shampoo example. Instead, Netflix just makes the characters ramble on about things that will never occur again. A bunch of hot fluff carried away in the wind. Back at the soaring station, Jet's hunch on Uday turns out to be right, and he begins chasing after him.
The running's over. I'm not gonna kill you. Just need the truth. Who pulled the trigger on me? Chalmers? Was it Chalmers?
But we will never know what Uday was about to say because Fad shoots him and acts like a cartoon character.
Tell me it wasn't you.
Things happen, Chet.
What things?
Death, bills, parking tickets. You know, things.
For real? We even get the cliche music and grand dialogue to accompany us.
I chose to go to them.
The Syndicate.
They needed a guy on the inside. I needed a lot of money. Win-win.
Yes, it's all about the money.
I was doing my job.
Yeah, and that's the rub.
I lost everything because of you.
I'm sorry.
Oh, shit, I'm sorry. Sorry for what? Our daddy taught us not to be ashamed of our dicks.
I gotta put you down like this. Tiramisu.
Asshole.
Hands! Let me see him! Chet?
Turns out Chalmers was a good cop all along, which doesn't explain why he was an asshole 2 episodes ago, but oh well.
You knew Fad was dirty?
Yeah. Been tracking him for months trying to build a case. You just killed the only man in creation that can clear your name.
But because of these actions, the truth about Jet will never come to light because the only person who could prove his innocence is dead.
What now?
As far as I'm concerned, these two dirtbags shot one another.
So no one will check for ballistic fingerprints. Even the Ace Attorney knows this better.
Should take off before those cherries get here.
Bird was the better player.
I will be the grumpy old man who reminisces about the old days when the prison break in space gave us a cool and exciting story of a man who is willing to face his demons. Another man who knows very well where his loyalty lies, even provokes his friend to join in, but feels guilty over his past actions. All carried out professionally.
You came all the way here to see me?
I wasn't really looking forward to it.
Don't say that. I came all the way here just to say hello.
I didn't want to come here, but something else insisted.
What?
The arm I lost because of you.
This is a whole lot different than whatever crap we got. Uday lived up to his reputation as the Syndicate's assassin, and he has such a demeanor that you completely believe Fad's intentions are genuine. When he said he wants to work with Jet again, you know this won't happen because there are too many episodes left to make that work, so you will probably die.
What a clueless chump you are. You never figured it out in all this time.
Figured what out?
I'm not the one who fired the gun that day. It was your own partner. It was all planned out from the beginning to get rid of you, because you were a threat to the Syndicate, and your partner was on our payroll. You were used.
A setup.
Finding out he betrayed Jet was a clever twist. The single bullet in his revolver was only meant for Uday. He knew very well he's gonna get killed.
Why'd you blast him? Because he was telling the truth? You came here to shut him up for good, didn't you? Well, no answer? How about it, partner?
You brought it on yourself, partner. You just couldn't play the game like everybody else. But people who go against the Syndicate lose, Jet. They lose big.
What we get for his reasoning in the adaptation is a far cry from this.
I chose to go to them. It was a nice arrangement. They needed a guy on the inside. I needed a lot of money.
Either they give up like you did, or they die young. This is the real world. There's no place for pretty ideals.
And that's why you betrayed me? That's why you lied and took me out here?
You were the best man. I wanted to team up like back in the old days.
Less is more. A single sentence earns a better build-up for the Syndicate than hours upon hours of scenes. We don't need to see them to feel their effect on the world. It's creepy by itself to think how much influence they have if they have insiders like this in the police.
Hey, Jet.
One bullet? You knew I'd take you out with your gun like this.
Can you hand me a cigarette? I guess I couldn't quit smoking after all.
Instead, now we have I need money, parking tickets. In case you forgot, let's address the elephant in the room, how this plot began. Basically in the anime, Fed needs to contact Jet because there's a loose end that he needs to take care of. But Netflix seemingly went over this fact because Jet is the one who initiates this. So basically if Jet doesn't care about this, then he's free of the crime that he did not commit in the first place. This is a major flaw. Can this get any worse?
You humiliated me in front of that fucking cow.
Oh, speak of the devil.
The minute you told Mao the plan, you needed her to agree. So I gave her what she wanted.
I mean, Julia is right. You expose yourself plotting against your own leadership to someone who is even closer to them.
You got what you needed, since you owed her for Gunther. What was that about? Vicious.
And because the universe has decided that Julia is the smartest person in the show, she comes to the realization that has been bothering her for the last couple of days.
Fuck Fearless.
Oh my god. Fearless is alive.
I could go on about how half-assed the show handled the B-plot between Spike and Faye, since it never really got a conclusion. Or did it really end with Faye earning respect through her stories? But who the hell cares? We're halfway to go, and that's what counts. And I will see you next time.